Hey guys, just real quick before the video starts, if you stick around to the end, I added a segment just showing these three boats together, kind of comparing them. You can see what some similar, nicer fiberglass boats look like, compared to the Arrow. And I also kind of tell you what's in store for the TFL rocket build I have coming up, what parts I'm going to use. And I go into a little bit of detail about what you can do to your Arrow, if you just got it and it's stock, and what I did to mine when I first got it as well. Hey guys, one more quick thing before I get started here. I know some of you watch these videos, and look at this and probably think I'm wasting my time and money. This is stupid. It's a plastic boat. And you're right in a sense. This thing probably will break at some point. But if you do your research, and start checking things out online, you'll see that you can buy just the hull of this boat. Okay, you don't have to go out and spend 150 bucks for the ready to run version. You can get the hull for something like 50 bucks shipped. I don't know if you can still get it, but I know at one point you could get it. So if you take that into account and then you add up, your hardware, your electronics and stuff, I mean, you're looking at like 225 bucks at the end of the day, and you don't go out and just find the first store, online that you see that's selling these parts. They have turn fins, for 30 bucks a pair, trim tabs for, the same thing, 20, 30 bucks. Check eBay, AliExpress, and you'll find some cheaper parts. And it'll make this thing a little more worthwhile, so for 225 bucks, I mean, what, I don't know, I guess the Vector SR80, you can compare this to, which is a plastic self-riding boat. It's got all metal hardware, but, like I said before, this is fun, kind of ripping something apart and doing a scratch build out of, a boat that a lot of people think is cool and like, you know what I mean? So, I do have a video of this, the build of it, up that is a silent video. It's more of a picture slideshow. There is a clip of it being powered up for the first time, but I don't talk in the video or really explain anything. So I figured I'd do that in this video. And just a small disclaimer before I get started, I am not an RC boat expert, okay? If you watch this or watch one of the other videos of this, going 60 miles an hour and you buy all the parts and install them, your boat may not run as well as this. I hope it runs better than this, but what I'm trying to say is, there's just so many different variables that come into play when you start modifying a boat. You might put the motor mount in, a little crooked or something that might affect how it runs. The bend in your stuffing tube might be more aggressive than mine, and that might cause, more heat and friction and resistance, and that might slow it down. Your turn fins or trim tabs or strut might be adjusted differently, and it might not work, or you might build it perfectly and, on your first run, the boat hits a wave, it flies up in the air, especially a plastic boat like this, 50, 60 miles an hour, and it just shatters into pieces, you know what I mean? So I just don't want anyone to, go spend your money on all these parts and put it together, spend the time and just, have it not turn out like you think it would. But anyways, let's do what we're here to do and check this boat out. All right, just a quick look at the outside, guys. I promise you we're gonna get inside of this boat here in a second, but just to kind of go over the outside, I think this screw right here was where the original water outlet was. I just plugged it up. I ended up, just the way the setup worked on the inside, I had the water outlet in the same spot here on the hull, just on the other side. I ended up plugging that up because it was just so low in the hull, and I don't know if I saw it in a video or read in a forum, that it's nice to have your outlet up a little higher, that way it's easier to see if there's water coming out of it or not. Down here, you're kind of, you do a drive-by and you're looking at it and you don't know if it's the water coming out or if it's, the water splashing off the bottom of the hull, you know what I mean? It just makes it kind of difficult. But when you have it up here, see, I kind of have it up here a little higher. It just makes it so much easier, to see that water squirting out of it. And we come around here, it's all metal hardware. Like I said before, I looked and searched, eBay, AliExpress, found all this on there. And when picking this out, what I did is I started comparing, what other boats that are nicer than this, that are made to go faster and, of nicer quality, what they kind of hardware they had on it, and then I quickly found the TFL Rocket, which is a fiberglass boat, but it has this exact hardware on it. You know, so I looked at that and I bought pretty much what was on the TFL Rocket, and I'm gonna switch scenes here. I'll pull that boat out and show it to you guys for comparison. All right, so here's the TFL Rocket next to the Arrow. It looks a lot bigger than the Arrow. It's really not. It is wider, but it looks a lot longer. You know, it's only a couple inches longer. But to the point of the hardware, you know, I found this boat. It was similar in size to the Arrow, and I looked at the hardware on it, and I searched, you know, AliExpress, eBay, and you could buy the hardware separately. So I figured, you know, that's what I would kind of go with on the Arrow. And as far as placement, you know, of the trim tabs and the turn fins, I just made sure there was enough space away from the strut, you know, for the turn fins that would allow, you know, my prop to get undisturbed water. You know what I mean? So whether or not that's like a general rule of thumb when you're placing your trim tabs, I don't know. That's just what I did. And as far as the turn fin placement, I noticed, you know, I just look at other boats and see how they were kind of mounted, you know what I mean? And I noticed a lot of them, you know, you want your 90-degree angle here, but a lot of the turn fins, the blade would be kind of where the V ends and that lip starts. I don't know if you can really see that, but you know, right at the end of the V where the lip starts is where that kind of blade comes down. So, you know, that's what I did and tried out, and it seems to, you know, work fine. You know, you just kind of use something that's tried and true as a reference. All right, guys, the hatch is off, finally. Take a look at this inside. Before I forget, you know, my original video of this that kind of shows the build with the picture slideshow, I had a 120 amp Hobby King ESC in it. This is a little skinnier than the Fly Color 120 and 150s. So I went with this because it fit inside a little bit, you know, it was tight on space. But I had a problem running this with an Outrunner type motor. I don't know why. I tried every possible combination, you know, I could with the program card, you know, with timing, different punch settings, and I just could not get an Outrunner to run, you know, smooth with this ESC, you know, and I don't know why, honestly. Maybe it's something I was doing wrong, you know, which very well could be, but it would just like, I don't know how I can explain this, you know, when the motor would rev up and kind of spool down and I'd hit the gas again, it was almost like it would stop the motor and start up again. You know, and it just wasn't smooth. Also, when I would go full throttle, I mean, it would just be, it was rough, you know, so I definitely, you know, there was something going on with that. You know, I'm not saying this is a bad ESC. I have this exact same ESC in another boat with an in-runner type motor, and it, you know, it works fine, and I run it on 4, 5, and 6S, you know, same ESC with an in-runner, and it runs cool, you know, it's smooth, it's nice, so I'm not really sure what was causing that problem, but I know, you know, I switched to a Fly Color, and, you know, all these issues with this went away. The Fly Color is just, you know, is just smooth, very smooth, and, you know, the program card's a little more simplistic and easier to use, straightforward. You know, Fly Color, I like these ESCs. I mean, they're, you know, for the money you spend on them, you know, it's a good bang for your buck there. So that is a 120 amp Fly Color ESC in there with a $5 Offshore Electrics cap pack. You know, do these make a big difference to your ESC? You know, probably not, but I put these on the bigger ESCs, you know, they might help reduce the temps of the existing caps, you know, that are on the board of your ESC. I did put one of these in a small 80 amp ESC that I was kind of pushing to the limits, and it did reduce the temps of the existing caps on it by like 10 degrees. So, you know, so that helped out. So, you know, something cool, it's fun, just another thing to slice up and solder onto your ESC, you know. So let's look at the back here. I always try to put a little bit of plastic, you know, to thicken up the back of the boat, you know, just to kind of reinforce it. You know, again, it's plastic, you know, you're going 50, 60 miles an hour, you crash, you know, your rudder, your strut's going to hit the water. It's going to try and twist and turn, you know, and really break, you know, the plastic. The servo mount, you know, is the stock servo mount. That's the stock brace above it. Again, you know, we're dealing with plastic, so, you know, I tightened one of the stock screws down too tight and it stripped out, you know, snapped a little piece of the screw mount off, so I had to use a bigger screw there to tighten it down, but that's kind of sorted out and works fine. Savic servo, you know, you don't have to put one of these in there. I just had one, you know, they're expensive. They're like 30 bucks, 35 bucks. you can buy a cheap servo that'll fit in there and open it up, spray Corrosion X in it, and waterproof it, and it should work, just fine. I did a 4mm flex shaft, new stuffing tube liner, and that little kind of bracket I made down here is just a piece of, it's a sheet of plastic I got on Amazon, 4mm thick, kind of square of plastic, and I just kind of cut that out and grinded it down with a Dremel. The epoxy I used, I went against kind of what everyone says. If I was working on a fiberglass boat, a nicer boat, I would have used the, long cure epoxy. And again, I just used what I had. It was the cheap Gorilla Glue stuff, and you have like 5 minutes to work with this stuff and pour it before it really starts, to set up. I just kind of roughed up the areas that I applied it to. And the motor mount, the battery tray, I did tack down with super glue first and then poured the epoxy, through the holes of the motor mount and a little bit over the battery tray. It's kind of hard to see. You can see it better in the video I have up with the picture slideshow of this thing. The motor mount you can get from Offshore Electrics. You can get it from eBay, AliExpress. One-piece 4mm flex shaft and stuffing tube liner. I got that from AliExpress. Your cooling lines you can get AliExpress, eBay, Offshore Electrics. The battery tray, I will say, I got this from Oxidine Marine, and before I would just think that that's, he only sold just ready to run boats and, nothing else. But, there's parts on his site, that he sells. And in particular, this battery tray, it's kind of hard to see now, but I can't find another one like it anywhere else. It has limitless options for your battery straps. I mean, there's so many holes in this thing up and down. There's, 2 levels of holes in it for your mounting, for the thickness of your battery. I mean, this is a really good battery tray. And it ships from the US, so you can get it fast if you order one. And it's especially good in a boat like this where your working room isn't that great. You know what I mean? A lot of the, I guess you could say traditional battery trays, they have a hole here for your straps in the back and another hole up front, maybe a hole in the middle. But, if you're up there, you're just going to be fighting every time to get that strap around your battery. And it's, it's just a pain in the butt. I like this cheap Velcro stuff. I like to use this because I don't know if you can see that. I put these sticky pads on my battery trays to keep the battery from sliding. That way I can use this stuff. You can cut this stuff to whatever length you need. And, I always have problems trying to find the right length battery strap. I'll get one and it's too small or too large, or you're trying to tighten it and you have all this overhang, and you don't know what to do with it. So that's kind of what I do. I did add these 2 kind of standoffs with the screw to keep the battery from, running back and hitting that outrunner. I've, a couple of times not doing this, I've had the battery come back and the outrunner kind of eats that battery and ruins it, which is a bummer. So what else? We got, I have the GPS in here. I hold this in with a, I think it's like 3M dual lock, and I like this stuff. It's not permanent. It snaps in and out, and I mean, this boat has crashed at, 50 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour. And, this doesn't come off. I got some pool noodles up in there. I do use the 3M dual lock for my ESC as well. Again, because, I'm pulling this thing out. You might want to use it in another boat. You might want to pull it out to reprogram it, or something like that. My receiver's in a balloon bag. I need to start using Corrosion X, so I don't have to wrap my receiver in a balloon. So if I do want to reprogram my ESC, I can do it easily. I don't have to, pull it out of that balloon every time. And one more thing about this setup, it's an outrunner. It's not an in-runner with a cooling jacket, being water cooled. The only thing that kind of you have to cool this thing down is the mount itself. You got water that runs through there. So, you've got 2200 kV running on 6S, that's a lot of RPM, and then you're trying to push a big prop, a 40mm, 1.9 pitch prop. I mean, you're going to get high temps, even a smaller prop. I don't think there's much you can do about that, So, I mean, this, it runs hot, 140, 160, 180. One time I shot it with a temp gun, I think after the speed run, and it was, I think pushing 200 degrees, you know what I mean? But that's only for a pass or two. But, just to kind of let you guys know that, if you do a setup like this, you start playing around, higher KV, you're moving up a cell or two, you know, in your batteries, you know, your temps are going to go up too. You know, the ESC runs cool, but you know, this setup, this motor in particular, runs hot. And you know, I had the first run I did of this, I had a 1600 kV motor in it, and the boat went fast. You know, I had a big prop on the back. It wasn't as fast, it wasn't nearly as fast, but it was still fun, you know, and it ran a lot cooler. So, you know, I think that's all relative to, you know, your motor temps. All right, so batteries that I use in this thing, that I prefer to use in this build in particular, 2200 mAh 3S Liperior Pro. I like these batteries. They're my favorite batteries, the Liperior Pros. If they make it in the size that I'm looking for, you know, this is usually what I go for. And they ship from the US, you know, so it's fast shipping. You're not like ordering it off of Banggood or from, you know, somewhere else in China where it takes a while. You know, I do that too. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I like these, and I prefer this brand over, you know, just about anything that, you know, Amazon has. The Yowu, even the Yowu Graphenes, I like these better than them. Again, I'm not an RC boat expert. I'm not a battery expert. This is just what I like. You know, I like CNHL too. I also use them. You can buy these on Amazon as well. These are a little smaller, and I wish in my speed run that I had used this battery instead. I used, you know, 2 3S batteries in series, you know, a little more capacity, a little more weight. You know, if I would have used this, you know, I can't help but think, you know, would I've gotten 65 miles per hour, you know. But, you know, I guess that's a part of the addiction. You always kind of wonder. But I might try this again, you know, same prop that I had on there, 40 millimeter, 1.9 pitch prop. Try it with this battery and see if I can get 65 miles an hour. That's the dream, you know, and then I'd like to, after that, if I can get 65 miles an hour, you know, I'll try an in-runner in here. You know, I've got like a Turnigy 3674 2200 kV in-runner. Try that on 6S, you know, maybe see if I can get 70 miles an hour. But again, you know, 50, 60, 70 miles an hour, plastic boat, you know, how long it's going to last, you know, before it breaks, you know, in a crash is, you know, we all probably know the answer to that, you know, not long. But, you know, hey, for me, if this thing flies up in the air, crashes, explodes, sinks, you know, catches on fire, that, to me, I don't know, that's kind of fun. That's cool, you know. Hopefully I can get it on video and show it to you guys. I do have, coming off the ESC, an XT90 connector, and then I have a, you know, an XT90 to XT60s for my series harness. You know, is that the best way to do this? You know, I don't know. It's kind of what works in the boat, and you know, it's working for me so far. So, you know, my batteries are XT60s. You know, it'd be nice if they were XT90s, but you know, it works. And another thing about this boat, you know, stock, it comes in like a 3S setup, you know, which is cool. It's fun. It runs good. You know, a lot of people like it. It handles great. One thing that I see people doing, and I haven't tried this again, so I don't know, you know, if you do this and it doesn't work out, you know, please don't hate me, but I see people are putting these 45 millimeter 1.9 pitch high rake props on it, and it seems to work good, you know, just as your first upgrade. Stock electronics and everything, you know, that's not to say, you know, again, you know, it's not going to smoke your ESC or burn your motor up, but it looks like people are doing it, you know, successfully. So, you know, just for reference, I mean, that's a 45 1.9 pitch prop. I mean, it's a big prop, but, you know, I just thought I'd include that. When I first got this boat, I kept it all stock with the exception of the ESC. I changed the ESC out to a fly color 90 amp. And then I just put, you know, I don't remember exactly what size prop I used. You know, all the stock hardware was still on it, not this metal stuff. But I, you know, played around with some different props, ran 4S, and it was a lot of fun. It definitely added, you know, the fun factor went up for sure. But again, you know, you start modifying something, you know, and things are going to change. You can run into more problems. You know, you have a 4S battery instead of a 3S. It's a little bigger. It might be harder to fit, you know, into the side here. You know, it's more power on the stock flex shaft, on the plastic stock motor mount inside, you know what I mean? So I think my motor mount, a screw popped out and the little piece of the plastic broke, you know, but after a while, after, you know, crashing it a bunch of times and stuff, I saw where one guy running it on 4S, he said his flex shaft broke, you know, snapped, I guess because of the power. But, you know, just sharing with you guys kind of what I did with this thing when I first got it. All right, so here's a little bonus footage for you guys, those of you who have stuck around long enough, and have watched this whole video through. Just something cool, this is the Arrow compared to the TFL Rocket, compared to a Seducer 26-inch mono. So you've got the Arrow, which is about 22 and a half inches long, bare hull, TFL Rocket, which is about 25 inches long, and then the Seducer mono, which is 26 inches long. But, just something to look at, kind of check them out. Kind of neat, the Arrow's plastic, the Rocket and the Seducer 26, are fiberglass, a little nicer. I haven't screwed that hardware in yet. It's just on there with double-sided tape, just kind of doing some test fitting. I love those trim tabs, the look of them. Hopefully they work nice, they perform well. But I mean, look how wide that Seducer mono hull is, compared to, it's only a couple inches longer. What, 1 inch longer than the TFL Rocket, a couple inches longer than the Arrow. You know what I mean? But man, that thing, I'm excited about this build. I mean, and it's got a nice super deep V. And I'll of course have videos on each of these. Just to give you a little insight on the Rocket, I've already got the parts for it. Maybe later today or tomorrow I'll start working on it, but I'm gonna do a 4mm one-piece flex shaft for it. I've got a 150 amp fly color ESC with a big cap pack for that. And I've got a MSQ 2972 2200 kV motor to try out on 6S. And that's where I'll use maybe those 3300 mAh 3S packs in series for 6S, a little bit bigger than the ones I'm using in the Arrow, for a little bit bigger of a boat and get some more runtime. But I'm excited. The motor mount in the TFL Rocket can only fit, 20 millimeter size motors. And even if you try to put a 36 millimeter motor bracket kind of into the rails of it, it's just too wide, it won't fit. So, it's something cool to explore the realm of these smaller 28 and 29 millimeter motors. We'll see how they run on 6S. But yeah, guys, just show you that this haul came in, without any, I think it had two little tiny Seducer stickers, but I just kind of added the pinstriping and the letters. Looks kind of cool. It looks kind of vintage, and I feel like the stickers and letters I put on it kind of adds to that vintage look, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll get another video up here soon. I got to stop making these and get out on the lake, and start running these boats. Alrighty, guys. See you later.